In episode 4, we talked about inference questions, and imply questions are really the same kind of thing. Remember we said there that even if we're going to be inferring or we're going to be trying to figure out what the passage is implying, we can't go too far. We have to stick as close as we can to the text, and the answer is usually only one logical step away from what's in the passage. You really don't want to go too crazy here with what you think is being implied or with what you think you can infer. It should be very rigorously bound to what the text is actually saying. So let's take a look at 30. The author most strongly implies which of the following about the ties of brotherhood. So that would be this portion here. Well, let's see. The problem of our age is the proper administration of wealth, that the ties of brotherhood may still bind together the rich and poor in harmonious relationship. So first, let's see what the sentence is saying. So the problem we have to deal with today is what he calls the proper administration of wealth, what we might say today, the distribution of wealth, or how wealth is managed and shared and distributed among people. That the ties of brotherhood, or in other words, so that the ties of brotherhood may still bind together the rich and the poor in harmonious relationships. So in other words, the problem of our age is figuring out a way to distribute wealth so that we can make sure that the rich and the poor don't want to kill each other, right? That the ties of brotherhood may still bind together rich and poor, that there should be harmony in the land, won't be strife or conflict or struggle. That's the basic idea here. So let's go to the choices and see what is being implied here. The ties of brotherhood were always largely fictitious and are more so at present. There's nothing here that's saying that the ties are fictitious. In fact, just the opposite. Because the passage says that the ties of brotherhood may still bind, that implies that, at least before this age, the ties of brotherhood were binding together the rich and the poor, I guess. And if anything, we want this to continue on into the present age. So it's a real thing. It's not fictitious. So A is gone. They are stronger at present than they ever were before. If anything, this is opposite. The passage is saying the problem we have to deal with today is making sure that these ties are still strong. So it's up in the air at this point whether the ties of brotherhood will tie together the rich and the poor, right? It's still something that needs to be worked on, right? It's the problem of our age. So we can get rid of B. They are more seriously strained in the present than in the past. Yeah, the author is saying, the problem of our age is this distribution of wealth. We have to make sure that the ties of brotherhood may still bind together, right? In other words, we were bound together previously. We have to make sure that we're still bound together. This is implying, and as the rest of the passage, the rest of this paragraph goes on to talk about, that there's a little tension here, that this difference between rich and poor is leading to some conflict. So C makes sense. Notice it's not too far of a logical step from what we've read in this, and also, as we'll see in the first paragraph and the rest of the passage, what the topic of the passage is about. How about D? They will no longer be able to bring together the rich and the poor. Again, kind of opposite. It's kind of like B and D both are opposite in the sense that we don't know whether or not the ties of brotherhood will bind the rich and the poor together. It's an open question, but it's something that should be worked towards. So D, it's not a foregone conclusion like that. So best choice here is C. To learn more about Reason Prep's SAT, SAT subject test, and ACT video courses, go to reasonprep.com/enroll, and you can find the link in the description below the video.